Good evening and welcome to the April 1st meeting of the Barrington Planning Board. First order of business, roll call, starting.
Yep, present.
Jesse, you're present.
Howard present. Let's go here. Also. On plan of Vanessa Price and Barbara Irvine, plan. That's from March 19th, 2025.
I had a comment about the minutes. Line 86, it said the town invested a significant amount of money in the, it should say the watershed, not the well, to prevent contamination of.
Six.
It should say the town invested a significant amount of money in the watershed. We're concerned about a well.
Is there a motion to? Motion? Second.
Yep, aye.
Jesse, you're aye.
Dang, I wasn't here. Just go on. Okay, next item is training opportunity. Go forth from.
Just keeping it on the radar for the board members about the upcoming training opportunities. Hard road to travel, I will, you guys get, it doesn't open until the 7th. Wanted to also note that our April 5th work session that has, however you want to look at, canceled or rescheduled to April 29th. April 29th is the work session that we're going to do on our conservation subdivision updates.
I thought that was the 8th of April.
The 8th is a training for,
different. Okay.
for all the boards are invited to that training. Both land use board, select board.
What's the 29th again?
The 29th is going to be the work session, and the work session will start at 6 p.m. and it's for the conservation subdivision updates to the division regulations. They pass through zoning, resilience. Be here to go over a lot of changes. And also you'll note, you guys, books.
The April 8th meeting is also at 6.
So yeah, so please note that change for the 29th because the consultants wanted to come earlier. We discussed last meeting that there wasn't an issue with that. First, you'll get the agenda.
Just a reminder.
I think they'll be recording it. I'll refer back later if needed.
Okay, action items, continuing from cases from March. 234, 757-2. Subdivision, Limos.
I just wanted to address the board real quick. The applicant tonight is seeking conditional approval from the planning board. Also, as you know, in your staff report, I'm sure the applicant will also go over it, but we had talked, or on the March 4th meeting, the board had discussed about showing the driveways and the driveway culvert pipes and that sort of thing. CMA has recommended just to codify that discussion, that you'll see that there's two options. One, that the board should consider a waiver request since it's in our regulations. If the board grants this waiver, conditional approval can move forward. If there's some reason that the board wants to applicant to go back. CMA will have to review, but it sounded like from our consensus on the 4th that if the board want to consider the waiver, they can move forward, just to note.
We'll comment on conditional approval. I know that if that's their desire, we still haven't seen easement regulation for the conservation subdivision component of it, as well as what's being proposed on that. I'll be candid, I would not vote to approve or accept conditional approval without seeing those documents.
So I know the applicant can speak to that as well, but I know that they've been working through the select board process on that for the open space part.
About if there are conditions precedent? You okay?
No, because we didn't approve it for the last one that came through. They had to provide it to the board for review. That way, we were all in agreement in the way that it was conditioned appropriately.
Scott?
Yeah, that language is actually provided to the board for review. So I don't know if you didn't get it, but that language would provide for the HOA docs, the open space, and everything else.
It was in not this packet, but the prior.
I don't remember seeing an HOA doc,
Yeah, I read one.
and I didn't bring my other packet with me, so.
February
I apologize
25th
if I missed
or
it, but
March 1?
Yeah, no, I know that was an early on comment 2 meetings ago, so I made sure
Right.
the attorney got on it and it was provided. We need that for AOT anyway, so it had been started and provided. While we're on that, it's a good point to jump in then, I guess. There has been communication per the last meeting. There was some, not requirements, but some acquisition as to if the town could actually assume some of the open space because there's trail networks that they would like to save in the rear of the property. It's my understanding they actually did have a meeting. Connor was involved with the Board of Selectmen. And basically, all the open space to the right of the project, being from the cistern southeast, is all being taken by the town. So it will have the restrictions on it, I believe, as a conservation easement, but that will be in the ownership of the town as was requested.
Is it for conservation or conservation and recreation?
I believe that's up to you. Oh, Board of Selectmen. Yeah, sure. You were there, so.
I attended the select board meeting and Mrs. Capiello was there as well. So what we talked about with the select board regarding the open space was that it would be up to the town. At this point, all of that area doesn't have any infrastructure for the subdivision in it. There's no drainage ponds or anything like that. But if the town in the future wanted to put trails and things like that in it, we would not place any restrictions. We'd leave it up to the town to put any restrictions they wanted on that land so that they would have the ultimate flexibility to use that and connect it with other pieces back there.
Joyce, we can require up to 15% for recreation. And this one, I think we don't want it to be limited to just conservation. We want recreation as well. It's right proximate to the library. I can see people walking up the trail to the gazebo or playground or whatever.
Right? No, I think that's a good idea. Did we say recreation or just conservation?
Yeah, no, when we talked with the select board, it was about recreation, the town may want to put future trails in there. We're giving public access. They can come in by the cistern location here and access this land. So there's access for the public so that if there's a future connection, that's completely possible. We as the applicant did not put any restrictions, nor did we want to put any restrictions. We wanted to leave it open to the town to come up with those.
I want to make sure we don't put it for conservation only. We want recreation.
And the town's attorney is drafting the deed for the parcel in order that they don't restrict it beyond what the town would like it to be.
Good.
Sometimes the left hand and right hand don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, no problem.
So we want to make sure we get
Right,
that in
and-
the minutes.
Yeah.
So that we want to, the planning board recommends that this is for conservation and recreation.
And we've run into that with other projects that have come in with conservation land that ultimately then ends up just being reserved by an association and not actually managed in a way that opens it up for public use.
Yeah, our intention is fully that Barrington would have control over what amount of public use or trails goes in here. And to that extent, we did ask that the town's attorney draft up that deed so that we didn't unduly put any restrictions on you all on how you want it to be used in the future.
Which is good because, with the opening of the library there
Sure.
and more land coming
available.
Absolutely. We see the public benefit of having this connected to other parcels for sure.
You just walk up the trail to a gazebo, playground, all that kind of stuff, it'd be great. So we don't want to be restricted from doing that in the future by our own hand. No,
If I may ask for clarification from the board, so do you want to add something to the notice of decision or amend that, or we can discuss that later too?
I don't think we have to. I think it's all being worked out. The attorney's doing the.
Yep.
yeah, but I think that we should make
I
our
would
intent
codify
clear
it to your,
Okay.
so that it doesn't get lost.
yeah, codify it in your notice of decision that it is both conservation and
Okay,
recreation.
if you feel good about that, we can do that.
Things get lost sometimes.
And if it's just given to the town could do whatever they want with it.
But then
There were no restrictions on it.
then we draft
I'll
up the
use,
language
for
to make conservation
example-
only, and we can't change it because we.
I see, you think the town will change.
Oh, I think, yeah, like I said, left hand, right hand, I think the town will screw up. I'm not worried about them screwing
Yeah.
up as much.
They're going
Sounds
through a
good.
giant pissing contest up in North Conway right now over Whitaker Woods and the way that was dedicated and deeded. It's much easier to make sure it's clearly codified in the regulation or in our notice of decision. And then you don't have to worry about that 20 years from now or 15 years from
Sounds
now
good.
or whatever it is.
Got anything else?
Just to expand on that, at the same meeting, since Alex was there, she was able to actually do two things at once, and I believe the proposed road name has been accepted by the town, so I believe it's Whitner's Run.
And there wasn't any conflict with E91. Perfect.
Nope. So that's been accomplished as well.
No, fine.
So going forward, since the last meeting, we had a couple of the discussion items that we have tried to address. The first being, we got into talking about the short distance of 7% grade in the roadway and how we can acquire or protect that from drainage. You'll see on the plans, on the profile sheet, that distance on each side. I have applied, as I said, the 3-inch riprap with the matting underneath for the shoulder and down to the swale, so that will protect anything that was
They
not.
didn't like that though, right? They made a comment they didn't like that.
Who?
CMA?
No, what Josh questioned, which I don't understand why, is he says, well, make sure that 3 inch is adequate. We'd recommend 6 inch.
6 inch.
Well, it's actually the same exact, I took the note from Bending Brook, which they approved the first time. And that was a 9% grade. Here is a 7. So it's a shorter distance. So it's definitely, to be honest, it's not required at all. The 3 inch is more than adequate to handle any little bit of water coming off the shoulder, that 150 feet or 100 feet, I think it was, on the side.
Isn't the 6 inch based off of the state standard? Isn't that what they were?
Well, it's based off of
targeting?
erosion and flow.
Right.
So we also, I didn't just throw the riprap, I actually added the matting underneath as well. So that makes it, even stronger. So the 3 inch is more than enough to handle, to stabilize the shoulder.
Do you have any concern with sediment filling it in? Because that's typically what I see is dirt, sediment, runoff, and then clog it all up.
Salt and sand, they wrote it.
Yep, and then it ends up not performing the way it's designed to.
Yeah, no, like I said, in such a small area, it would, I suppose, in 100 years or something, but, it's used very readily in other locations as well, so.
Yeah, I think I'd be more concerned about the development. Is it being developed, the runoff of the mud and the dirt and everything when you get storm events?
It would only be from sanding, it's only catching the pavement discharge, not the land side, it's only coming from the pavement side.
You don't think,
It's brown, so I think that's.
Yes.
right, I'm just looking at the way the profile runs off on that as it's being built. You're gonna have the property on the other side, but okay.
The next item we went over,
Engineer discretion.
Yeah, right. You didn't, right.
the next item we went over, there was a comment at the previous meeting on the drainage pond out back, which we have relocated, so that should be totally non-issue. And again, that's, that and some other items are still under the peer review of AOT. So we actually just submitted that, so we are awaiting their complete review of the project with all drainage items as well. And then the last item, getting back to what Vanessa said, driveways and culverts, which we have always shown on the plans, a driveway location that meets the standards along with anywhere that would need a culvert. And the question has come up with driveway grades. We did go into this in a lengthy discussion last time that we feel that, and I read the regulations, and in a number of places it still says up to the road agent, that grading may be a little preliminary for these driveways, as 9 times out of 10, they're not exactly built in the location as they are in the plan, which makes the grading useless. So I still believe it's not required. However, I know the board likes to use caution in these items. So if they would feel better, I do have a written waiver request for the driveway grids being shown. So I can hand you that if you wish. And again, we went into this.
I mean, I think that's required because we have requirements for driveway grades. If you show them and you change them and you still meet them, it's fine, but you have to show you can meet them at least someplace on the property. So I think, our regulations call for that. I think that's appropriate. I'm okay with a waiver, but I think, I believe it needs a waiver.
You think it needs a waiver?
Yeah.
That's fine, yeah. That's, which I don't have a hard time with, but, I feel at the end of the day, especially the give allowances and the ending statement, even in the regulations, is any deviation from these driveway culvert requirements shall be requested through a waiver submitted to the road agent. So it just kind of formalizes it's really up to them, but I totally understand.
Yeah, we want to make sure the subdivision can do it.
Yeah.
We require building envelopes. You can move it around the building envelope. You got to show you have an envelope that'll fit on the site,
Oh, yeah.
setbacks and stuff like that. So I think that's what we're looking for, is similar to that.
Yeah.
On the driveway specs.
So should I hand this in?
Sure.
I knew you were gonna pass everything. I was like, I'll let you know.
Good move.
She knows where everything is.
You wanna, does the board want to entertain a motion?
Yep. So everybody agrees we can grant the motion? And
I
take a
mean,
vote?
to me, I would like to see, a condition
wording
in the approval that says the road agent's got to verify down the road the specifications or something like that. So
But
not
we
just-
have-
not just waive the requirement.
The wording is, the requirement as per subdivision regulation, section 12.3.2, requires the driveway layout and grading to be shown on the plans. That's specific enough?
No, I want to.
No.
I want to say that if we could waive it here, but the road agent checks it down the road, to make
Right.
sure these specifications.
I think that
He
was,
just put in the driveway permit.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, he has to anyway.
Right.
You don't get a
Right.
driveway.
Right, but I think what Ron's looking for is that the road agent verifies that the driveway as permitted is within the requirements of our regulation,
Right.
being less than a 7% grade.
10%.
10%, sorry.
And I actually added that verbiage under 12.3.2 grade right on the plan. So there's no question to anybody building the driveways. That's what it has to be.
Once again, just making sure. Put the language in.
I'll put that under as a, or
Condition.
general and subsequent condition. That's what it'd be, the general and subsequent, so after the plans are signed, like when they're out in the field, it just needs to make, yeah.
Pass.
Thank you.
Okay. You have the additional language? Yeah. Right, yeah, I have that. Okay, the waiver is as follows. The requirement as to this, per the subdivision regulation, section 12.3.2, requires the driveway layout and grading to be shown on the plans. Not granting the waiver would pose an unnecessary hardship to the applicant, and granting the waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations. Is there a motion to grant the waiver?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Nap aye.
Capiello, aye.
Jesse, right?
Aye. Driscoll, aye. Okay.
So I believe as far as tidying up, we have some very minor comments still to go with CMA, most of which will be under the purview of AOT. still have AOT permit and state sub permit. There are no wetlands on this job that we have to get a permit for. So I believe we are pretty much down to the final list on this project.
Okay, any more comment on this? If not, I'll open it to public comment on the granting a waiver.
Did
The application.
The application.
the follow-up comments from CMA get addressed?
I received them late this afternoon and forwarded them to the board.
Yes, I read them
Yeah,
earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything that Scott wanted to address, but I think to me, it sounded like he had addressed everything the outstanding comment I had before this was already addressed through the waiver. But I think there was probably just some plan, cleanup comments, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Anything else that you
one of the
need to
ones had to
address,
do
but
with
I don't
test bit
think so.
numbering, which there was 3 rounds of test bits done. And I've actually asked the surveyor, because they're not really required on the existing conditions. They basically had different numbers than we did. It's very difficult when you do 3 different rounds of test bits, because you do preliminary, then you did road, and then we did for septic. And the numbers got a little, so we've corrected all that on our plans. I've just asked the surveyor, when we do the final plans, to just take them off existing conditions, make it much cleaner. That was one of the comments. There were some other ones. This round was a little frustrating. There was probably a handful of comments I actually emailed Josh myself. I'm not sure if they were in the rush, but they just kind of said not done. And I highlighted the set and emailed it back, and he said, oh yeah, those are done. So there was a number of items we actually had done the last revision set that were addressed. They just didn't see them, I guess. So yeah, we were in good shape with them. There's just a couple that are outstanding that, you know, they have an opinion, we have an opinion, but that's all going to be under AOT threshold. So that's where we are.
Okay. Hearing anybody online?
If you're online that would like to speak for or against this application, please raise your hand or unmute yourself to make comment. We'll give you a moment to respond. Mr. Chairman, I don't see public comment.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
was there-
John, I
you
think
didn't
there
know-
may be a
I'm
public.
sorry.
You didn't open it.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Gilbert Smith, 272.
Might be
At the mic,
There you
yeah.
go.
Either here or there.
And press one so it's green.
Oh, okay.
You can pick it up and hold it closer to you too.
That's okay, I talk loud anyway, so.
All right, appreciate that.
Gilbert Smith, 272 Oak Hill Road. Actually, I have just a couple of questions. One, is this in the TIF zone or not? Because I know part of Barrington Oak Hill Road is now considered TIF zone. And 2, have you considered the traffic pattern, considering that you have Much Ado development, you have Messenger Hill Road development, and now you're adding this one all in the same proximity, and what the impact on maintaining that road will be, traffic-wise and road-wise, considering you're putting additional traffic into that road? Or I'm asking you to consider that, quite simply, because it's all it's all within a couple of 100 yards of each other.
Well, they did do a traffic study. You accepted that already. You can see that on the town website under this lot number and map number. Everything, all the documents are there. So give you some idea.
I didn't see them when I looked, so
Yeah.
maybe I didn't look in the
Yeah.
right place. But
You call Barbara, she'll walk you through how to find
Okay.
everything.
do you know offhand if this is in the TIF zone? Because you're turning a
don't
lot
know
of it
that.
into conservation property, and understanding what the purpose of the TIF
We're
zone
checking the
is.
tip zone. I
You're
don't
not
know.
gonna get any tax incremental impact from it if you.
Yeah,
There's
there's no TIF on this one, whether it's in the zone or not. There's no TIF on this one.
You're sure? Okay, because I know the parts
It
of
hasn't-
Oak Hill
yeah.
are considered part of the TIF zone.
It would have been part of the application and discussion if it were,
You got it.
so. but we can direct you to the map.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it's just beyond, above the border there of the.
Oh, yeah, here, let me read it.
See Oak Hill.
Whether there is or isn't a choice, it's not TIF.
But then I would say, why
It
not?
looks like it's in the TIF zone, speaking from what I'm seeing on the map.
But why not? Collecting them.
Well, it wasn't brought up at all from the original inception in the preliminary discussion and the design review and with the application. So I think if it were, it would have been brought up, but it wasn't. That's the official opinion of me. So. Do we want to? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Is this something we want to clarify?
I mean,
I found
whether
a
it's.
better map, sorry.
She's
whether it's
bringing
in the
up a
zone or
better
not,
map.
If it's
Okay.
conventional, I mean, there's nothing iffy about it, like, better word it.
Well, I want to know if it is in the TIF district,
Well, under
why are
the,
we not
If you
collecting that TIF
Look online.
monies towards town projects?
Because it's going to the town budget.
You can see it.
Well-
The money
Well,
go
it
to
all
the project or it can go
ultimately
into the
does it.
budget. This one's going to the budget.
well, all of the map and lot numbers are part of the TIF zone are under that document.
So it's not in the TIF district?
And I ask is,
A
the
good
TIF
question.
zone has to be, when we get around the real estate taxes,
Right.
it has to be invested in the
Right.
TIF zone in taxing.
Helping drive your tax rate higher, really all that.
Not reducing it as much as it could.
That's a better way of
to
putting
say
it. And you will reap some benefits from it.
I don't know if we'd agree on that one. It's mismanagement of funds, is the way I view that.
Well, I view it differently. But the question here is it in the TIF district or not? And,
It's not gonna matter, the fund, even if it is.
yeah, but it's
The
up
funds
to,
are gonna would have to be applied appropriately anyway, because it was voted on and approved. So the moment that development starts, anything that is value increased above and beyond the existing value of the lot and parcel would be designated as TIF funds. That doesn't matter, that's
It
part of the
wouldn't impact
regulation.
them one way or the other where the money goes once it's
Right.
town. Goes in
Well,
the general
actually,
fund.
It does,
Just
because
different.
my understanding of a TIF zone is any incremental increase, i.e. you put four houses on there, you get real estate taxes for it, then you have to invest it back into the TIF.
That's not what I
You can't
said.
take that
I
real
said,
estate tax money and
I
put
said
it-
whether it goes into the general fund or into the TIF pile is beyond our control here. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it is, that's the whole purpose of the TIF zone. Is you have to reinvest the money, any
Right.
incremental value increase has
That-
to go back into the TIF zone.
Sir, that would be done from the tax office, not from the planning board.
planning board has nothing to do with TIF.
But I'm asking the question because I think there's a 50-acre lot, you're talking about giving 25 acres roughly down, and which would mean then that 25 acres is not usable for other purpose,
It-
tax-wise for the TIF zone.
It couldn't be anyway, sir. They're doing a conservation subdivision, so they're allowed to put the exact same number of lots on this
Either way, I
parcel.
saw that, but yeah,
Right.
It really doesn't make any difference. Call it a conservation subdivision, regular development,
Well-
if you will.
It
But
does, it
where
does.
those tax funds go can impact your general budget. Not take the money out of that, vote it to the town budget.
Right.
You can only devote it back to.
That's
areas
exactly
in
what
the
I
TIF
said.
zone.
It doesn't go in the general fund. It would go into the TIF fund. That's it.
So that's the only question I'm asking.
Right.
I think we're
All saying the same thing with it.
and maybe that question should come before the select board.
So I think it can't be answered by a planning board, it has to come from town offices.
So,
we
when
have
they
nothing
came
to do with
before the select board, I anticipate Connor would have addressed it maybe.
Yeah, we didn't talk
We
about,
didn't
so we just
talk
talked
about
about the naming and the.
conservation easement.
If you pull it up on the tax map, did they add the TIF as a selectable option?
Yeah, it would have been up in that box above if it's in the tip zone. So
Well, I'm just saying if you,
on the card, it mentions it if it's in the tip zone.
I was referring to the tax map in, what the heck's it called?
The GIS.
Access GIS.
Tax card.
So based on looking at your map, it does appear that these two parcels are in the TIF district. We have already given a significant portion of the land to the town as a benefit to the future town center district here. I'm not sure what the conversation about the TIF district has to do with the approval of this project. So if there's a specific question that we can answer, be happy to do that.
I think we've answered it.
Great.
To the extent we can answer it.
There may still be a
When
question.
the,
Let's
when
move along.
the land is developed is when you get
Yeah,
the,
right now
the
it's
money
probably
for
in
it,
current
so it's
use
not
except
for
for the
that.
house, right? So any increase in lots as they are being developed,
it goes into the.
they would have
In the
to.
future, they'll separate what
Right.
needs to be
Right,
separated.
and it's
We'll
really
have
not
to-
gonna matter to you.
The document would first be a
Same money,
land
just
use
goes to the
change
location.
tax document, has to go to the town, because they're taking a certain amount of it out of current use. And follow that progress all the way for each lot. So. We ready for up here? Anything else for public comment? Anybody? Okay, I'm closing public comment. Nobody's online to do. All right, should we? With,
Before the motion, I just wanted to acknowledge again that under the general and subsequent conditions, item number 11 talks about the public and open space. I'll codify that to say it's for the conservation and recreation. And then adding a new notation that the driveway to meet the road agent, or to meet the town standards through the road agent approval along those lines. I'll probably take what, back to the meeting minutes by Andy. You said it really good, Andy, so, thank you. Those are just the additions, nothing, there's no deletions discussed. And back to you, Mr. Chairman.
okay, thanks. Scott, anything before we proceed with the notice?
No, sir, I think we're
Okay.
good.
I'll make a motion to grant the conditional approval, notice of decision.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Happy LOI.
Jesse, right?
All right.
Driscoll, aye.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
It's been a long process. Congratulations.
It is.
Yeah, this is for the Dry Hill Road.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Have a good evening.
Yours is right?
All right.
So Barbara only messed mine up?
She doesn't like.
Okay, next item is map 257-29-1, general residential, 4-lot subdivision on Mary Hill Road. Request by the applicant to continue this application to May 6th.
Make a motion to continue the application to May 6th.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Happy LOI.
Jesse, right?
Driscoll, aye. Usually a little
I
faster.
know you're the chairman, but you know, don't step on me, man.
All right.
And we're continuing that to the May meeting.
May 6th was the request of the applicant. So, but it's always fungible. Right? Okay, new applications, map 203, lot 17, general residential, 2-lot subdivision. Frank Chopin, Extreme Homes and Investments.
Evening.
Lou?
We were out here about a month and a half ago, did a preliminary conceptual. So back again officially. There wasn't much for comment when we did the conceptual, but we've cleaned up the plan and gonna put everything together. So there were some comments that came out from the road agent. We received them on Friday. We have 5 copies with some updates based on comments, different from what you have. We know we didn't officially make the revision submission, so we didn't know if you wanted these copies or just discuss the notes that were.
Okay. Share.
Were the items that were from what was submitted. Thanks for making it large, too.
I anticipate.
Normally I'm here with my, like, magnifying
So
glass.
the application is complete.
Okay.
Yes, if they could put on that.
But basically, minor subdivision, looking to use the backlot ordinance to create a second parcel out of the 8 acres. So we would have a 3-acre parcel and a 5-acre parcel remaining, is what we are proposing.
When you calculated the new lot, you did exclude the neck, right?
Yes.
You told me they have to put a building. Vanessa?
Sorry?
Tell them to put a building envelope on. Put a building envelope on. Show compliance.
They are on there.
Envelope?
Yep. Building envelope for both lots.
Oh, right here.
Setbacks, test pits for both lots.
Yeah, but you're supposed to put actual building.
That is the.
Right? Well, it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
good.
yeah. That's all that's required.
It's beyond there.
Yeah, wetlands, right?
Show they comply.
Well, the wetlands buffers are on there.
Suppose I just put a building location, the proposed building location on the drawing.
But you're not locked in.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can
not
move
really.
around, but you're supposed to put, so you're
I'm
sure you
not
can
sure about
comply.
that, but.
I can show you,
Yep.
I'm sure it's there.
I'll check with the planner. Why, because as long as you comply.
So you gotta, you
Yeah, that
gotta show
one
you
has
can
a
put
house on it,
building that
an
that
existing
complies.
house.
Just so that we know it complies. You know, so that beside the setback, it's connected to the buffer, this is where, this will comply with all the regulations. It's on there, it's supposed to.
Andy's checking again.
That isn't what I was looking at, but.
That makes me look, is it? Subdivision, there's the whole thing.
Should we just make that a condition?
Yeah.
That they show it?
Yeah,
You can make it
I mean, I'm good
condition.
with it. I think this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're,
Yeah,
it's-
room for a house.
It's like
Yeah,
you
I
put it-
agree.
To have it on
You're
the
supposed to be
final
on.
plan,
Yeah.
right?
well, I understand it. We, basically where it says proposed 203-17-1 is where we were gonna put the house, so we could
Yeah,
put a proposed,
yeah, you're supposed to put a
there
building on
and-
there, it's not a big, as Bob says, you get plenty of room to do it.
yeah, no, it makes
We're not
sense.
saying you can't do it, we're just saying it's supposed to be done.
Then why are you being so nitpicky?
It's supposed to be done. That's what the regulations say. I'm not doubting they can do it, I'm just saying it's supposed to be done. The storage trailer, it's on there. What's happening with that?
It's already gone.
Done?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're familiar with the property. So we're trying to clean it up. We're restoring the existing farmhouse, and just trying to clean up the whole property. It's kind of been very run down for the last 10, 15 years, so.
I think also, road agent comment was that he wanted just one driveway access per lot. Right now, I think there's 4 driveways that go into this property, so we put notes on the plan to clean that up as well, so there'll only be 1 actual driveway per lot.
He asked for 16 feet too. If we did pay, did he ask for that?
For the apron?
The apron,
He
yeah.
did not.
Oh, we didn't
I
ask
don't
for it.
think we will.
He did not.
You're gonna pave?
Hold on.
Yes,
Okay.
The whole thing or just for 16 feet?
the whole thing.
Whole thing?
Yeah.
Because you'd have to comply with the driveway regulations, which
Just requires 16, right?
for the new driveway.
What's that driveway about? It's gotta be pretty close to the 500-foot mark. Coming in off that neck.
500 feet, where, what's the reference to 500 feet?
Cause you're about 200 feet coming in on the neck, and then you turn the corner and you've got probably a solid 140 or so down. And then depending on where you place your house, you're gonna have another 100 or so potentially in there.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm just thinking about it as you're getting
At
apparatus.
500, you're supposed to have.
Yeah, gotta have a turnout.
turnout for the fire engine, but you'd probably be close to the garage at that
Yeah.
point, right?
That's what it looks like.
Just have enough area for a truck to turn around.
Okay. Well, we could put that on the proposed, when we do show the proposed building envelope, we can make a note that any driveway length in excess to meet the town regulations and have the turnarounds.
32-foot fire engine.
Yeah, you won't hit it, but it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
If you had to turn an ambulance around or something in there,
Yeah,
it'd be
you don't want a little tiny,
yeah.
be driving over the grass.
Well, oftentimes you get snowbanks in the wintertime. That kind
And they,
of prevents problems.
Worse is they
You
drive.
ruin your asphalt.
Yeah.
The ambulance is there and get stuck in the ground.
yeah, you don't need that.
Mr. Chairman, before the board goes forward, do you want to consider the application is complete? I don't see the notes on here that's part of the checklist to make it complete, which if you look on my staff report or the conditions president, sorry, it's A, B, and C. Unless
There.
it's somewhere where I don't see it under the notes section.
They're, yeah, you should be looking at them right there, right under the locus.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Is it possible to add them under the notes section? Well, it kind of looks like they're already maxed out there, huh? Typically, they're in the notes section.
Yeah, the note. With a legend and make room
Okay.
right over there.
To make sure that the application is complete before you.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the application?
Motion to accept the application is complete.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Cap aye.
Happy other way.
Tessie, your eye?
Alan, aye. Okay, I'm going to open the public comment. Anybody have comment? Anybody online?
I see some folks online. If you would like to speak for or against this application, please raise your hand or unmute yourself to make comment. We'll give you a moment to do so. Mr. Chairman, I don't see anybody that would like to speak for or against this application.
Closing public comment. Any further discussion on the board before we go to the notice of decision?
No, just, I don't see anything that actually says that the building envelope, just so you know, says it has to be. And it's under 11.4.
Sorry, folks, I guess we're taking a 5-minute break here.
No, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
I'm just sharing it with Ron.
I'm just kidding. All right, so
Challenge accepted.
they're gonna. Look at that.
Okay, so we're gonna take a vote on the notice of decision. Is there a motion to grant the notice of decision?
Make a,
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that the board knows or agrees to the additional conditions precedent.
Right, you wanna read those off?
One of them was the building envelope to be shown, but you can,
We can show it.
because he was mentioning it.
I'm 0 for 2 tonight then, so.
I felt like it was shown, but it's up to the board to decide that. And also for the turnaround for EMS or fire, did you want that as part of that, Andy, as the notice?
I don't
or-
think it needs to be.
Okay.
It's just more of a courtesy advisory
Yeah,
kind of
just,
point.
put a 2-car garage, you can have a separate garage or something,
Okay.
and just make a big,
I will
I
not
mean,
include
it's
that.
it's a single unit residence. It's not a multi, it doesn't have multiple lots. It's not a shared drive. I just throwing caution to the wind on it.
okay.
11.4, Andy, 11.4, building envelope.
Yeah, I saw building envelope.
All right. Are we prepared to vote on the notice of decision?
What are we doing with envelope?
We're gonna show it.
He said he'd show it on the plan, so we
Yes.
just
Yeah,
gotta leave it as
it's
a.
gonna go on the final plan.
We'll show the proposed house on the final
We can
plan.
fight it
And then
out
you
down
can
the
move it
road,
wherever you want, so it really doesn't matter.
as long as it complies.
Exactly.
Okay, vote on the notice of decision?
With the
With the
noted
addition,
conditions.
with the building envelope to be shown on the plan added.
Yep.
Additional conditions.
Okay.
Gabrielle.
Just your eye.
All right.
Wait, who was motioned? Who motioned it?
Did we motion?
There was
I
no
thought
motion.
John motioned it and then Ron seconded it,
I
but
thought
maybe I'm
that's what
wrong.
happened.
Oh, I'm sorry. You need to follow along?
Everybody was looking at their notes.
Okay. Don and Ron.
That was what I had.
That's what I had. Look at the YouTube video and see if it's on. Okay. All right,
All right, well, thank you very much.
okay.
Have a good evening.
Go back to the inside, so keep-
Oh, you just seem to put a building envelope on the plan.
All right. Item B2, lot, map 201-16, 220 in General Residential District. Lot line adjustment, owners are Nathan and Carrie Gray, and the city of Rochester. Welcome, Mr. Berry.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Christopher Berry with Berry Surveying and Engineering, representing the applicants here this evening. So with me tonight is Caitlin Deo from Southeast Land Trust and Peter Norse from the city of Rochester, representing the city of Rochester in their efforts here this evening. And I believe online is Nathan, who is an applicant here as well. You'll note that the project is on Stonewall Surveying's title block and letterhead, so I am here representing Ray as well. This was a joint venture project that Ray had previously worked for the owner on, and to get this done as expeditiously as possible, he needed a little horsepower from us, so we're here in that capacity. We provided the on-the-ground survey work along with Ray, and then consulting support along the way for the project. I do have the actual stick drawings. I find them to be very confusing. So I had Daniel from my office prepare these color drawings, which I'll actually be referring to. Hopefully you all have those in your packet. So essentially, as you can see from the colored drawing, the first one, the green area is land that Nathan currently owns on Dry Hill Road. And this is adjacent to the City of Rochester Reservoir Waterworks. There is a municipal pipeline that was put in that actually runs through Nathan's property, runs across the municipal land that's shown in red. And in an effort to do some lot line revisions, they have determined that they'll do a lot line revision between the green lot and a few of the other lots that the city of Rochester owns. Two of them are sort of landlocked without frontage, and then the blue lot is the existing triangular piece. The actual lot line revision portion of this takes land area that was previously Nathan's, so this area that was green. We're proposing a lot line revision so that that is now owned by the city of Rochester. The lots that previously ran perpendicular to Dry Hill Road essentially are getting turned 90 degrees. The city of Rochester is maintaining the purple area, and we're doing a lot line revision with one of their other lots so that it has frontage and access to Dry Hill Road. Then the blue area that's currently owned by the city of Rochester would be transferred to Nathan, and the yellow area in this final format would also be transferred to Nathan in the final format. So in retrospect, may have been easier to do this in multiple steps, but again, we're trying to do this in sort of an expeditious fashion, so it's presented all in one plan. And so we thought the color renderings would sort of aid in that process. We have had Joe Noel delineate the wetlands on site. We do show all the wetlands, wetland buffers, topography on site, building envelope as it's designed in your regulations. We are not proposing any structures currently on site, and so no buildings are shown or proposed. But we did prove on the topographic sheets that the lots are buildable with 4K areas and wells and leachable land areas. The existing home on site has a well septic. We did provide for a 4,000 square foot leaching area around that existing septic system, and all of the existing features in and around the tillage area around the existing home are shown on the plan. There's quite a bit more to it, given the people that are in the room, but I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that the board has specifically on the lot line revision and anything else that I might be able to answer here tonight.
Mr. Chairman, can we accept the application complete?
Sure.
Motion to accept the application is complete.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Second.
Roll call.
Nap aye.
Capiello, aye.
Jesse, aye.
Alan, aye.
Driscoll, aye. Okay. Any questions so far?
I have more of a comment than a question.
Okay.
This is a red list road, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
The applicant on lot 16 has been here, and the best thing he's going to do is do repairs to Dry Hill Road until it makes its turn into the driveway.
red list roads, cannot, no building permits will be issued.
No building permits will be issued until the road is brought up to a standard acceptable to the select board.
Yep. But right now, it's a red list road.
Understood. No building is currently proposed.
I have a question on the 5.94 acre lot on 16. It's being transferred to Rochester.
Yes.
That essentially is mostly a beaver pond. And if we look at the map you provided, tax map 201 from 2020, it indicates, and compare that to the size of the beaver pond now, which is touching Dry Hill Road in a couple of spots. Is there anything we can put in the notice of decision that would require the city of Rochester to take care that that beaver pond does not increase in size where it would impact a town road?
No, I don't believe you could do that. A couple things I'd want to point out, John. First, you're comparing a survey map to a tax map. So
It's only trying to illustrate that it may have grown, maybe it didn't.
it could have. I'm not here to say that it hasn't, but your two reference datums are different. So you're using a tax map and comparing that against an existing survey. Secondly, we're not here tonight to impose any additional constraints on either landowner by doing a lot line revision. Just because it's going from Nathan Gray to the city of Rochester doesn't imply that there's any additional liability being transferred as well.
Okay,
I have a question.
Mhm.
You mentioned SELT. in your-
I mentioned
so are
that,
they involved
I
too?
mentioned that Caitlin from CELT is in the room.
Right, are
yes.
they
Yep,
involved in this as well?
there.
So, with the town of Rochester?
Yes, ma'am.
so the roughly current, 247 acres that Rochester has in conservation, felt is responsible for that,
Some of it, yes.
right? Any more questions? An open public comment. Anybody else have comments? Anybody online?
For the folks online, would you like to speak for or against application? Please take yourself off mute or raise your hand to make a comment. I'll give you a moment to respond. Mr. Chairman, I don't see anybody online that would like to speak for or against this application at this time.
Thank you. Closing public comment. Any discussion on the notice of decision?
Just if Vanessa had anything that she caught that we may have missed in it, from my standpoint, it seemed fairly straightforward, and knowing that this is all currently conserved lands, I don't think that's probably gonna change any, so.
Yeah, I didn't have any other thing. There was comments about just to, as we all know, that any development on Dry Hill Road to adhere to the town of Barrington's Class 5 Class 6 private road policy. That's the only thing that I would know, so, other than the required permit and signatures. Actually, just signatures, yes.
Thank you. Make a motion to grant the notice of decision.
Second,
Roll call.
Napa.
Capiello, aye.
That's your eye.
Alan, aye.
Bristol, aye. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, enjoy your night.
Might be the shortest project you've ever been up here for.
And yet you thought it was a complicated one.
Take the money and run.
All right.
Chris, I feel like I was cheated tonight.
Sorry, I had to toss one bomb in there, Chris.
I was prepared.
Okay. Item number 3, map 250, lot 78 in the regional commercial zone. Owner Carter S. Owens, trustee. That was recently transferred, though, to the new owner. That's correct. Request by the applicant for a minor site plan for change of use of mixed-use development to approve one residential unit above an existing commercial building on a 2.08 acre lot in the regional commercial zoning district at 54 Commerce Way.
Good evening, Steve Height, representing the applicant, Tyler Mallett, and the current owners are actually Mallett, and they are looking to occupy the facility for their business, which is he would live upstairs and he would have his equipment that he uses for tree clearing and tree arborist type work, and have it in the first floor. It's an existing building, existing use. There's also an apartment above there right now that's being occupied. So in talking with the building inspector, he'd asked us to come to the planning board to codify what's already existing, and then since it's a change in ownership, since there was never a formal approval for the residential use on that property, to do that with the planning board now. So that's really it.
Did you folks look at the septic?
I did, yep. So septic is, we did the septic calculation.
The numbers are right, I checked the numbers.
Yeah.
I did as well.
Subcontracted to Ron, that's good.
Yeah, we did take a look at those as well, so yeah.
Any more thing before we move to
Well, the only thing that I see is
application?
parking spaces. I don't see the parking spaces indicated.
Yeah, so
One giant
Vanessa and I
parking
talked about that.
space. It's one giant parking
Yeah,
space.
yeah, so it's existing and it's gravel. There's no intent to pave it, so to try to delineate a parking space with a line was just basically to tell you right now, it's gravel areas and they're gonna have the park right in front of it as it is right now. If you want a line shown on it for a couple of parking spaces, we're happy to do that when
Well,
you
I think
sign
they
the
should be in the
plan.
drawing that there's room for the required parking spaces. For the warehouse, you would need 3, right? It's over 2,000 square feet, right?
Yeah,
3 for the warehouse and 2 for the dwelling?
We can do that.
You gotta show 5
I think
spaces.
it's
on
only
the road.
required one for the dwelling,
Yeah.
isn't it?
One?
Either way, whatever the, if you want us to put a line on it, we can do that.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
I thought it was. Who state laws is on 2 acres, you know?
Ah, it's ridiculous, but that's a different issue.
I think it's either 1 or 2. You gotta put in, for the dwelling, you gotta put in 1 or 2. And for the warehouse, per our regulations, it's 1 per 1,000 square feet, so you're over 2,000 square feet, you need 3.
Yeah.
So.
Just add it to the final plan.
Yeah,
Right.
no problem. We talked about it, it didn't feel there was any need to
Yeah,
put a
it's
line.
gotta
but
be on there.
That's all right.
I mean, at one point, there were 18-wheelers parked in that lot.
You know, I have no doubt they can do it, it's just,
Yeah.
again, should be on the plan.
And just had the 16-foot apron too.
Oh, yes, that's correct. So just what they've asked for is that you'll pave the first 16 feet of of your driveway coming off the road. Told them you that. Paving it.
Yeah, even the house lot, and everybody, the road agent requires a 16-foot apron.
It's in the regs, it protects the town roads, that's what it's for.
Right, off of town road.
So it doesn't scald pool that goes into your driveway.
Yeah, so what Vanessa and I talked about, we would show that, you
Yeah,
know, approval tonight, we'll show that in the final plan, you guys sign that.
You're talking about letting in. No.
Just to clarify,
I'm okay with that.
Anything you want at this point.
just to clarify, it was 5 spots, is that the final?
We'll do the calc for,
It's definitely 3 for the warehouse. I looked that up, but I thought it was 2 for dwellings. I would change it to 2.
Really, they've got plenty of room.
I know they did, that's
Show
why,
five.
that's
Show
why we
five
didn't
and call it
initially
good.
think in there.
Yeah, show 5.
we'll call, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, thank you. Make sure okay.
Need to vote on the application is complete.
Oh, we already did that.
No, we didn't
No?
accept it yet.
Make a motion, we accept the application is complete.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Bye.
Gabriella, aye.
Tessie, aye.
Yes. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Open the public comment. Anybody have a comment?
Did you vote? I did. Oh, I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
It was quiet.
There's nobody online.
Nobody online, closing public comment. Anything before we go to the NOD? None? Is there a motion to grant the notice of decision?
Before I do that, I just want to make
Okay.
sure that the board is okay with, I know I'm repeating myself, but show the adequate parking on the plan,
5 spots is
five
good.
spots, and then to show the apron.
Yeah, just show the apron too.
Those are things I'm just going to add.
Thank you. A motion to grant the notice of decision. A motion,
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Aye.
Gabriella, aye.
Tessie, aye.
All right. Go ahead. Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Good luck. Welcome to town.
Not bad, huh? 4 minutes over my guess, but.
So I know, probably don't give a crap, but my question is anybody heard anything on the recently approved regulations that went through the State House? Is it like, are people appealing them? Is there any pushback on that?
Well,
I'm assuming there's
the-
gotta be.
The big
We
one's
haven't
passed,
crossover yet.
big one's passed the Senate, the 88,000 square feet.
Right.
The one that would
That passed-
require,
That passed both houses?
no, this is Senate.
That's what I thought.
One that was in the Senate that we require a maximum of 50-foot frontage, buffers, frontage, setbacks. Was put back into committee, which means kind of like in person.
Yeah, it just goes,
But if,
hopefully goes
think
there to
about that
die.
a minute. The same
Right.
people who passed the 88,000
Right.
voted to pass this, which would require a lot in depth of 1/3 of a mile,
Yeah. It's
1,750 feet, all the way down the road.
which is exactly what you try to avoid are
Would
these
be good for a
pencil
gun
lots.
Or bowling alley.
Bowling alley.
But, you know, Andy, you just got yours passed, and then you overturned months after you get it all. Years you've been
I've
going
got to
through this.
reach out to
Last month.
Kelly Ayotte and be like, you gotta be like, this is ridiculous. Do
I
not
think the
sign that.
House, Lynn Turcott's really against
It-
even he just said local people should decide.
I agree 100%.
And that used to be the Republican position, but this was 5 Republicans pushed this 88,000 and the other one, they signed on.
Yeah,
They
it
said-
was, what was it, like 12 Democrats and 5
Yeah, but I mean, it was
Republicans?
originally proposed by Fine, it was a partisan bill.
Yeah,
Why would-
Well, there's a big push for affordable housing in Germany.
but this doesn't actually accomplish
Yeah, that
affordable
has
housing.
nothing to-
All it does is make developers richer.
Yeah, you're still gonna have $1 million houses on 88,000 square
Right.
feet
It's something
instead
they
of our
can
130.
say helps affordable housing, that's all that matters.
If you
Doesn't matter
really,
if it actually does, matters if I can say I did something.
The first apartment's for lease over here, 3,450 bucks. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
34,
3,450.
I don't know.
I wasn't paying that in DC.
You guys want to move on to the?
yeah, but that was
site plan
like,
review
that was like
regulations, please?
1985.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were
mean-
done.
Didn't say
Okay,
I'm on.
I don't mind if you guys chat about this later, but I just want to make sure that we get this accomplished.
What are we trying to accomplish now?
We accomplished a lot, this is quick for us.
Right.
I know,
We
I'm
have to
very
get down to
proud of
item
you,
number
very
C,
proud of you.
Adoption of site plan regulations, which is the,
We went over this at
I didn't
the,
even review this.
um,
I wasn't there, that's why I didn't do it.
well, I'm sorry you were not there.
okay.
If you have any issues with those, we can discuss. All the changes that you see in here was what we discussed at the last meeting.
Subdivisions those have to be warranted in March, right? Subdivision regulations.
Regulations?
No.
It's the same process.
Just zoning and.
Oh.
Zoning is the
We
only.
do this ourselves.
And I bring it up because while we were looking at building envelope items, one of the things that kind of stuck out at me and caught my attention was, we talk about, the hourglass effect of not less than 50 narrowest point, but now we have a minimum of, 75 feet just for backlots, so thinking we probably should at least update that to comply with what would be consistent with the narrowest point of any lot
I don't know why it's
anyway.
in building envelope anyway.
What's that?
I don't know why it's in building envelope anyway.
Because it talks about lot shape and design, and it's trying to avoid hourglass
Yeah,
lots.
but we already have lot shape somewhere else.
Yes, it's in,
I think it's just eliminated. I mean, why is it in there where it's already somewhere else? You're right, it doesn't comply, but that's because it's somewhere else and we change it somewhere else. Why does it belong there? Talking about building envelope, what's the lot shape have to do with building envelope?
I'm not disagreeing with, it stood out to me and I was like, oh, why do we have?
True. Something to discuss.
Speaking of things that we can change, you mentioned that if it's 2 properties, it's gotta be a row per 911.
E911.
E911?
Yeah, so what about if it's 3 or more
3 or more.
It's 3 or more.
Hmm.
Okay. So I
on
can-
a common driveway, they need to have a
Like the one
road
next to the
name.
church
So
on
people
Route
call it a
9.
road,
3
even though
or
it's a
more.
common driveway, if it's 3 or
Should we
more.
change our regulations to say a driveway could be 2? E911 says it's gotta be a road if it's 3. And it can't be.
It
a
doesn't
driveway.
have to be
It
a
doesn't have to
road
be as
for
far
a
as
regulation,
Right.
it's just
It's
for,
E911 needs to have a name for it.
yeah. So it doesn't have, I mean, it doesn't have to meet those regulations, it's just for naming purposes.
But once you give it a road, doesn't it run into the problem with the state law where there'll be access from, us?
As long as the driveway, the common driveway is on a class 5 road, like the 2 we just approved.
But they have like 3,
There's
Freedom
3.
Way, is
Freedom
that
Way.
right?
But if it's gotta be named a road,
Something.
now I'm getting access.
So it's not naming, I mean, I guess it's naming a driveway. It could be naming a private
Call it a
road.
driveway name.
Yeah.
Driveway name.
Like the one next to the church, which is Cherry Field or something?
Yeah.
The 3 lots.
For the
TSP.
TSP project.
Chairman, should we get back to the
Yes,
site
please.
regulations
Tim.
and then maybe venture onto other topics if desired?
I will second that motion. Anybody have any questions on these brief, these 8 items, which is the only thing changed? Hearing none?
I know there is no public in the audience, but for record's sake, do you mind just opening?
I will open that to public comment.
Anyone?
Nobody online.
Bueller?
Closing public comment.
Bueller?
Thank you. Since it was advertised as a public hearing.
And you want us to vote at this point, or?
Yes,
just-
please.
Nap eye.
Let's make a
I need
motion
to make a motion first, buddy.
Boy, these guys are anxious to get out of here.
He's in
Motion
Boston.
to adopt the site plan review regulation changes,
Nap eye. Motion to to
Blah, blah, blah,
make
blah.
these site changes.
seconded by
I'll second it.
Joyce
Whatever.
Capiello. Roll
Joyce
call.
or Bob?
Yes. Nap eye.
Capiello, aye.
Tessie, aye.
How would I?
Driscoll, aye.
See,
Thank
look
you
how
very
easy
much.
that was.
Any new business that's on the list? Hearing none,
You give a lot of time bringing up new business.
closing, you have new business?
Nope.
Closing new business too, so.
Motion to
Motion to adjourn.
Hold on, hold on. I would like to make a comment.
Oh, okay.
I would too.
Oh,
So-
very good, please.
I would like to specifically thank Vanessa for her
And
time
mine.
here in the planning role,
I think Raul
for the
could do
work,
that, but-
the effort, and everything she's done, not only for us as a board, but for the town of Barrington to help keep it there. I think it's largely been unrecognized and understated, and I want people to
I think
know.
we all agree that she
that-
did a great job.
I'll second that.
and-
We
Second
appreciate
that.
So, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. You know we don't say enough.
We still don't like you for leaving, by the way.
She said it's her, not us.
Oh, okay.
She told me. I've heard that before.
I don't believe it, but.
Well, you know, we loved you. Think about any other
Yeah.
person.
Me. Why are you looking at me? when you
No,
say
not you.
that? You were
I
looking
thought,
at
I
me.
was looking for concurrence here. All right, are we done with our official business, so we can make a motion to adjourn? What's the next meeting?
The next meeting will be
The
April
29th.
29th at 6 PM for work session.
April, we're gonna meet on April 8th, 6 PM. The next meeting is the 29th.
Right, so the 8th
Both
is
at
for
6
training.
o'clock.
Both are at 6 o'clock.
Both are at 6 o'clock.
It's the I don't give up. It is.
Make a motion, man.
I'll
So
make
that
a
was
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll
Bob
call.
and Andy.
Nap eye.
Capiello, aye.
Tessie, aye.
How would I?
Bob and Andy.
Driscoll, aye.